The battle for control of America's military has exploded into open warfare. Pete Hegseth, Trump's choice for Secretary of Defense, faces an orchestrated smear campaign from the very swamp creatures he's pledged to eliminate. The FBI has launched mysterious investigations. RINOs like Lindsey Graham are spreading disinformation, and the mainstream media is recycling baseless accusations. But here is what they're really afraid of: Hegseth's promise to restore a war-fighting ethos to the Pentagon. His exact words: lethality, lethality, lethality. Anything else is a distraction. And the establishment is trembling. And with the deep state targeting Trump's nominees, protecting your digital security has never been more critical. That's why I trust VirtualShield Antivirus Pro. Just like they're trying to hack Trump's team, cybercriminals are working overtime to compromise your devices. VirtualShield offers military-grade protection, blocking malware and suspicious activity in real time. During their Black Friday event, get up to 75% off plus a 7-day free trial. Don't let them spy on you. Secure your devices now at virtualshield.com/nextnews. That's virtualshield.com/nextnews for unbreakable protection. So a lot happened in D.C. today, and I think one of my favorite moments was Mitt Romney's farewell speech. Couldn't happen fast enough.
There are some today who would tear at our unity, who would replace love with hate, who deride our foundation of virtue, or who debase the values upon which the blessings of heaven depend. Now, I've been in public service for 25 years. I have learned that politics alone cannot measure up to the challenges we face. A country's character is a reflection not just of its elected officials, but also of its people. I leave Washington to return to be one among them and hope to be a voice of unity and virtue.
Yeah, right.
For it is only if the American people merit his benevolence that God will continue to bless America. May he do so, is my prayer.
All right, Mitt, don't let the door hit you on the way out. So we reported last night there was talk about Ron DeSantis actually stepping in to replace Pete Hegseth. Wall Street Journal, there were some doubts about it, but now Fox is reporting that the reports are actually legitimate.
Brooke Singman is in Washington with the latest on Trump's cabinet nominees. Brooke.
Hey, good morning, Todd. That's right. So President-elect Trump is reportedly considering Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as a potential replacement for his defense secretary pick, Pete Hegseth. So the Wall Street Journal reporting, quote, Trump allies increasingly think Hegseth may not survive further scrutiny, according to people close to the president-elect's team, which considers the next 48 hours to be crucial to his fate. Hegseth is still set to meet with these senators today, as well as the House Republican Study Committee. On Monday, he met with Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, who is expressing concerns about some of Trump's nominees. Listen.
I'm worried about 2 or 3 of our nominations. I'm worried about, I won't go over the ones you can usually pick those out. But at the end of the day, we've got to do a good job of pointing out the strengths of these nominations.
Trump is also facing a setback when it comes to his DEA pick, Florida Sheriff Chad Chronister, who withdrew his name from consideration after criticism over his COVID-19 policies. Chronister saying in part, quote, as the gravity of this very important responsibility set in, I've concluded that I must respectfully withdraw from consideration. There is more work to be done for the citizens of Hillsborough County and a lot of initiatives I'm committed to fulfilling.
Okay, so we got this story about DeSantis stepping into the void. But what is really happening here? We're learning that Senator Hawley told Fox News that Hegseth canceled his meeting with him that is scheduled for tomorrow, which to me, that's suspect. Like, you want to go and meet with all these senators, you want to get them on your side. Why would you cancel that? Now, Hegseth has said he's not withdrawing. Trump is 100% behind him, but then you've got all these weird conversations happening in the background. We got some other nominations we're going to talk about, too. We've got this. Donald Trump has nominated crypto enthusiast Paul Atkins to SEC chair, replacing Gary Gensler. The pro-crypto nomination was a campaign promise made by Trump where he vowed to get rid of Gary Gensler. Paul is a proven leader for common sense regulations. Now, what's interesting is this was 10 hours ago, and now, in the wake of this news, Bitcoin has now crossed over the 100,000 mark. It is currently sitting at $102,847. It's over $100,000, folks. And it's all because Donald Trump is a pro-crypto president. So the markets are reacting. This is huge. Jesse Kelly said Lindsey Graham created real negative momentum for Pete Hegseth with his comments yesterday. He did it on purpose. Trump has repeatedly given political cover to Graham. I mean, I was at Mar-a-Lago. It was a congressional event. A lot of congressmen. Trump was there. Lindsey Graham was there. And I'll never forget it. I mean, the ballroom was packed. And when Lindsey Graham, when he was introduced, he was booed at Mar-a-Lago. I mean, to his face at Mar-a-Lago in Trump's palace. Okay? So let's hear what was said here.
Okay, are you ready?
Another man, not a lot of people know him. He doesn't do too much television. He happens to be a little bit further left than some of the people on the stage. But I always say, when I'm in trouble on the left, I call up Lindsey Graham and he straightens it out so fast. And I'll tell you, no, remember.
See? They're booing him. I didn't even watch this clip. I don't even know what was going to happen. And they're booing him. Just like I said happened to Mar-a-Lago when I was there.
He's a good man. Come up here, Lindsey. Come up here, Lindsey. Come here.
The Chiron says this is the South Carolina State Fairgrounds during the South Carolina primary.
Okay, are you ready? America, the nightmare you're facing is just about over. Help is on the way. This is the most qualified man to be president of the United States. And let it be said that South Carolina created the biggest political comeback in American history.
How funny was that? Speaking of funny, here's what Senator Fetterman said about voting yes on DeSantis.
Admits that he has. I'm considering voting yes on DeSantis if he finally admits that he has lifts in his boots. I'm sure he does. I think maybe 3 inches, 4 inches at least. Yeah.
He's
He would vote yes if he admits to having lifts in his boots. President Trump announcing that former Congressman Billy Long of the great state of Missouri will be appointed to serve as the Commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service. We know that DOJ is talking about auditing them, the IRS. Elon Musk is and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about auditing the auditors. Here's Dan Bongino coming to Pete Hegseth's defense. This was published about 12 hours ago.
0 inch. And Pete Hegseth's one of those guys who's going to look and go, is this really America first or is this America last, us being over there? And there's a war machine worth trillions of dollars that doesn't like that. They're trying to sabotage Pete because there are people in the United States Senate on the Democrat and Republican side who have had arms industry, weapons industry lobbyists up their ass for 20 years. And they're telling him this is our hill to die on. Well, fuck, this is our hill to die on too. Because you know who's going to die? Your kids and your kids after that in a number of bullshit foreign enterprises where we have zero interest whatsoever because castrated fucking eunuchs who have no balls to do it themselves, don't have a fucking shred of integrity or anything else, want your kids to go over and fight some war somewhere. They don't have a shred of balls to fight themselves. And they are
I mean, I agree with the sentiments here. I just wasn't expecting to fire.
afraid that Pete Hegseth is going to ask one simple question. Why? There's money to be made in your kid's blood. Folks, we have a military for a reason. We're not here to duck every fight. There are fights we have to fight. You hit us, you knock down our buildings, then we are going to fuck you up. But man, we don't need U.S. boots in every single country on earth for kids dying and blood on foreign soil because some lobbyist has a freaking pipeline somewhere they need protected. That's bullshit. And that's exactly what's happening right now to Pete Hegseth.
Wow. Bring in the fire. Holy cow. Definitely bring in the fire, Dan Bongino. We've got some more. FBI whistleblower Steve Friend reveals open operation inside the FBI to sabotage Kash Patel's nomination.
Some of the people who used
on anyone. And there's a portion in there, it's called Appendix G. And it basically stipulates that the FBI can open up a full counterintelligence investigation on anyone who they believe could be the target, like the victim of a recruitment scheme from a foreign actor. So that leak indicates that there's actually a full counterintelligence investigation open on Kash Patel at this time. They're doing it for his benefit, of course, but they're going to get full access through national security letters to his banking records, all of his electronic communications, again, to protect him against that recruiting.
And the fact that that information found its way to the front page of CNN is just, I mean, they just must have great sources, really.
I mean, look, Andy McCabe over at CNN now, I'm sure he's just giving guidance back to his Rolodex of contacts within the FBI.
That's right. These people, they're such sick bastards, aren't they? So expect this playbook to be used against Kash Patel. You are saying that they are now scraping through everything that Kash has ever done, even though he received awards for his work inside the Justice Department, 16 years inside the Justice Department, then working for special operations and being one of the lawyers protecting the highest echelons of military service. They're going to go back through and they're going to try and sabotage Kash because it's a threat to the system.
They are also trying to cull through his foundation. Look, I was pinged by NBC to provide my comments about the Fight with Kash Foundation, which it basically serves to assist military veterans and whistleblowers. And they want to, I don't know, paint some sort of corruption scandal on that. Look, my experience with Kash Patel was, we're talking about a guy who has some investigative skills. 2 years ago, during Thanksgiving, actually, I got a phone call from a number I didn't know, but I was getting lots of weird phone calls at the time because my name had just become out. And I answer it, and it's a gentleman who says, hey, this is Kash Patel, and I have the foundation that supports whistleblowers. I would like to give you, because you're unpaid, indefinitely suspended forever by the FBI, $5,000. My foundation is going to give you that donation to get your family through Christmas. I don't want any attention on this. Don't tell anybody. This is just something that I do because I believe in. That's the character of the man who is tapped to become the next FBI director.
Wow. And that's why they are terrified of Kash Patel. That's why they're terrified of Hegseth. We also have this cleanup on aisle 10 after filing a declaration to keep the FBI's records on the guy who didn't do something to himself secret in June. This woman is now on the Diddy case, according to a court filing. So looks like they're going to try to put some familiar faces inside the Diddy case because Kash Patel has said that they're going to release all that information. Olivia of Troy posted this. Today, Kash Patel, 9 hours ago, sent a letter to my counsel threatening legal action, demanding that I retract my comments on MSNBC about his unfitness to serve as FBI director. This aligns with his threats against the media and political opponents, revealing how he might conduct himself as FBI director. Well, what did you say, Olivia? I think we actually have the video of her. Let's see here. But speaking of Hegseth, before we go back, I'll wait for that video to load up. Terry Schilling posted this. 43 Republican senators voted to confirm Secretary Lloyd Austin and his woke agenda. Of course, we should have no issues getting Pete Hegseth confirmed. Here is Glenn Beck 9 hours ago.
W. Bush. I've met with presidents before. I met with Ronald Reagan. I met with George H.W. Bush. I met with George W. Bush. And I met with Donald Trump. I have more confidence in Donald Trump now than any other president I've met with. The guy is super, super informed. It is a blessing, honestly. It is a miracle that he lost in 2020. And I say that, you listen to this show, you remember what I was saying. We're all doomed. We're all going to die, okay? The country is over if we don't correct this in 4 years. We would not have had this president, the man he is today, if it wasn't for his loss in 2020.
Yep.
He had 4 years to go, okay, what did I do wrong? How did they get me? How did they thwart me? How do I stop it? And how do I reverse this machine while dismantling this machine? He is laser focused on that. And if he said it once to me, he said it 1,000 times. Glenn, it's going to be breathtaking. It's coming. Change is coming, and it is coming fast. They are not going to know how to deal with it. I'm filled with confidence. And again, I say this with the caveat that, the left will never say, but I say this with a caveat that I would say on any president. As long as he's constitutional, as long as he's following the Constitution and the laws, he's going to be remembered as one of the greatest presidents of all time, because he's at least going to give it a college try. I mean, he's going for it.
Okay, so I found the clips. This is more information with respect to what we're learning. Okay, there's a lot to process here. There's talk of Pete Hegseth being leapfrogged by DeSantis. That would mean DeSantis ends up in D.C., and now there's going to be perhaps a special election for the governor of Florida. What is being floated right now is actually that Matt Gaetz might actually throw his hat in the ring to be governor of Florida. Now, I've been talking about this. I've been wanting him to go and be appointed by DeSantis to go into the Senate to take Rubio's seat. So, I mean, this is just crazy. All of the maneuvering that's happening behind the scenes. Okay? So, here is the media doing everything in their power to stop Pete Hegseth. Pete's mother, Penelope, was threatened over a private email she sent to her son.
And to President Trump. And I want to say thank you for your belief in my son. We all believe in him. We really believe that he is not that man he was 7 years ago. I'm not that mother. And I hope people will hear that story today and the truth of that story. So the other thing I want to say is I am here to tell the truth. To tell the truth to the American people and tell the truth to the senators on the Hill, especially our female senators. I really hope that you will not listen to the media and that you will listen to Pete.
Well, and you're here to tell us, because you are in the news now. So why did you write that email in 2018?
Right. Well, what
was going on?
Right. Let's go back 7 years, which if we all went back 7 years, we would see that maybe we were not the people we are today. But they were going through, Pete and his wife at the time were going through a very difficult divorce. It was a very emotional time, and I'm sure many of you across the country understand how difficult divorce is on a family. There's emotions. We say things, and I wrote that in haste. I wrote that with deep emotions. I wrote that as a parent, and about 2 hours later, my husband tells me I should think through things a little bit more. But Pete and I are both very passionate people. I wrote that out of love. And about 2 hours later, I retracted it with an apology email, but nobody's seen that. So it was a difficult time. I want to say something about the media. And part of today is to discredit the media and how they operate. When they contact you, I let a few phone calls go, but then they call you and say they threaten you. That's the first thing they do. Right. They say, unless you make a statement, we will publish it as is. And I think that's a despicable way to treat anyone. Threats are dangerous, and they're hard on families.
So it sounds like they got an email, threatened her, published it, made all kinds of noise, and now she's got to go out and defend her son. It's just disgusting what the media does. Here's that tweet. 12 hours ago, Matt Gaetz reportedly eyeing a run for governor of Florida. Meanwhile, DeSantis joins the Trump administration. Laura Trump could be tapped for Senate seat. Do you support this? Matt Gaetz, Eric Daugherty, is seeking to run for governor of Florida. If DeSantis heads to the Trump administration, Laura Trump could be appointed. Lots of stuff going down. Ton of moving pieces to these DeSantis-Trump rumors. But one thing that I'm being consistently told by a lot of people smarter than me, that it's probably true. Another scary rumor that was also presented today was related to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Info to be released that will lead to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene getting indicted and expelled from Congress. Politics Video Channel. I haven't gone any deeper than this tweet, but this is, just want to put this on your radar, that there are things happening behind the scenes to really disrupt. Okay, so remember I told you about the legal notice. Kash Patel sent the legal notice to Mike Pence's advisor, Olivia Troy, to retract the defamatory statement she made about him or face massive legal action. And this is what she said. This is the video I wanted to get to you.
I think Mark Esper, I worked with Kash in the White House. I was Vice President Mike Pence's counterterrorism advisor. So I had to coordinate with Kash a lot. Kash Patel is a delusional liar. Let me just be very clear about that. And he would lie about intelligence. He would lie about making things up on operations. I think Mark Esper has talked about that as well, where he put the lives of Navy SEALs at risk in an operation when it came to Nigeria. These are things that actually were happening in real time in the White House. And I know this because at some point I realized that I needed to double check Kash's work to make sure that I wasn't misinforming Mike Pence by relying on his word. So I had to go around him. And this is a guy who openly has contempt for people in national security, for people especially at DOJ and the FBI. He made open comments like this. And so I think,
they're warranted. There's a lot of people that have contempt for the FBI. Look at how they've behaved. I mean, look what they did to Donald Trump. So he sent her a letter, said she needs to go out and retract all these lies.
There's a little bit of fear here from people where they know that someone like Kash Patel is fully capable of just doing partisan investigations, whatever it takes. It will be insane if he becomes the director of the FBI. And I fear for like the law enforcement personnel there who are going to have to navigate this. And quite honestly, when I look at Kash Patel in combination with what is Pam Bondi going to do if she gets in as AG, is that top cover for him? I mean, these are all the things that concern me when I see all of these names being proposed for all of these different positions, because this is a very real risk.
Yeah, the deep state is freaking out over that combination, Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. Okay, here's more. Representative Chip Roy. He says, I think Republicans in Congress are going to give lip service to backing the president's agenda. Let's listen.
Deficits to the level. I think that Republicans in Congress are going to give lip service to backing the president's agenda, and behind the scenes, they're going to be stonewalling it unless some of us can kick them right in the rear end and make them deliver. That's my blunt assessment. Truth is, you're already hearing excuses. Well, we don't have 60 votes in the Senate. You're already hearing some of my colleagues say, well, we can't do, broad mass deportations, which, by the way, I think is effectively, just call it what it is, repatriation. We are sending you back to your home country. That's your home country. And you've got some already apologizing, saying we can't do that. You've got people already apologizing for, we're not going to be able to, reduce the deficits to the level that you fiscal hawks want. They're about to, blow another $115 billion without paying for it for the disaster relief. Now, your heart, my heart as Christians goes out to people in North Carolina and throughout the Southeast, but you got to pay for this stuff. You can't just write another blank check. They just voted for $200 billion to shift Social Security funding from some people to others, which will cause Social Security to be bankrupt 6 months earlier. This is the natural way of things for Republicans in Washington. They need to understand they will change their ways or they will lose power. That's it. I'm going to be on the side of change. I'm going to be on the side of disrupting the status quo. I'm going to be on the side of delivering for President Trump and the American people. There's a large block here who want to do it, and I think some people here in this conference are in for a rude awakening.
Oh, yeah. A rude awakening is on its way. Here's Pete Hegseth. He did a impromptu press conference today.
Wonderful process to go through and meet with senators and talk to them, especially members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, whose passion is the Defense Department, and our warfighters, to hear what they want to do to make sure that department is properly oriented for the threats of the world and make sure that we're putting the warfighters first. That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a warfighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process. And it's been a wonderful process.
So he wants to go all the way, despite all the attacks that are coming fast from all corners. I thought this was a great clip too. Oh, before I play that, here, this is interesting. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Spotted in Palm Beach today, Raheem Kassam posting these pictures. Trump Deputy AG pick Todd Blanche having lunch with CNN's Caitlin Collins. What the hell is going on in this picture? Was this just an innocent lunch? Business? Is something else happening? I don't know the relationship status of these people. But, I mean, they're out there in public, and clearly, for this one, she's got her sunglasses on. I don't know. Was this a pre-interview thing? Was she running a story? I don't know. But they were spotted today. Trump's deputy AG. I do not trust Caitlin Collins at all. At all. We're going to play this clip here with Pete Hegseth in a moment with Megyn Kelly. But this is one reason why I love Elon Musk so much. This is why we need to have Trump's appointments move through. I want the recess appointments. Avoid all this mess. Do the nuclear option. Get these people in there so that we can have this country, America First agenda moving forward without any distractions. Because these nomination and appointment processes, they become circuses.
The people. Well, listen, I guess someone's got to be the George Soros of the right. I mean, I'd call myself George Soros of the center, I think. We obviously need to have just the basics. As President Trump rightly said, what we need is the restoration of common sense. We want safe cities. We want secure borders, sensible spending, freedom of speech, respect for the Constitution. Anyway, so if that's George Soros of the right, that's me, okay? I'm incredibly excited about the future. The public has given us a mandate that could not be more clear. It's the clearest mandate. Winning the popular vote clearly, the House, the Senate, the Electoral College by a mile, a majority of governorships, a majority of House legislatures, all Republican. The people have spoken. The people want change. And we're going to give it to them. They will get what they asked for. I think this is going to be the most transformative presidency, perhaps since the founding of the country. And President Trump is picking the cabinet to do it. You can see the choices are people who are actually going to make change. It's not going to be business as usual. We're going to shake things up. It's going to be a revolution. And we're headed towards, I think, a fantastic future. I'm super excited. I look forward to experiencing that with everyone. Thank you.
Brings a tear to my eye, man. Hearing that message, I mean, that's what we need. That's the optimism that we need in this country. But there's the relentless attacks on the agenda. It's because the deep state's freaking out. They're panicking. They're circling the wagons. Oh, man, let's hear what happened with Megyn Kelly and Hegseth today.
Not upset about your drinking?
You know what? There's an interesting one there. First of all, I've never had a drinking problem. No one's ever approached me and said, "Oh, you should really look at getting help for a drink." Never. I've never sought counseling, never sought help. I respect and appreciate people who do. But what do guys do when they come back from war? Oftentimes, have some beers. How do you deal with the demons you see on the battlefield? Sometimes it's with a bottle. Unfortunately, tragically, for too many guys, it's with the bottle, and then it's depression, and even worse, suicide. I mean, we've got an epidemic of that in our country. Thank God, by the grace of God, I found my chapters of purpose that pulled me out of that. I found, in many ways, I found two things. My two J's. My Jenny, my wife Jennifer, changed my life, saved me. There's just no doubt about it. And my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And without those two J's, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. But with those two J's, like my mom said this morning, and I didn't get a chance to see all of it, but God bless my mom, I'm a very different person than I was 10 years ago, than I was 15 years ago. But I'm also the right guy to be in the Pentagon to understand what our young warfighters are going through. What we send them to do, what we ask them to do, tour after tour after tour after tour. Are we equipping them properly? Are they mentally prepared? Are we helping them on the way back? How are they transitioning? Were they used properly? I can speak to that because I've lived it. Not from a general's perspective, not from an air-conditioned office in Washington, D.C., or from a think tank. From dusty boots and pulling triggers with bullets whizzing by, and you're wondering whether you're ever coming home.
Upset?
Wow. Oh, wow. We're also learning today that Monica Crowley has been nominated to serve as Ambassador, Assistant Secretary of State, and Chief of Protocol of the United States. So Monica Crowley is returning. We have this, too. This was brought up in one of the earlier clips, but President Trump announced that he personally fired Chad Chronister as his DEA nominee. He says, he didn't pull out. I pulled him out because I didn't like what he said to my pastors and other supporters. This man locked up a pastor for preaching during the pandemic. So, yeah, that's the guy we don't want around. Senator John Cornyn, he's refusing to back Pete Hegseth.
Work itself.
Did you discuss Pete Hegseth with Bondi?
Pardon me?
Did you discuss Pete Hegseth with Bondi?
No.
Are you comfortable that he is the right man for the job, Hegseth?
I'm going to let the process work itself out. I've known Pete for a number of years, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him since he was nominated, but we'll let the process work itself out.
Thank you.
So he is not being clear. Obviously, he's going to let the process work its way out. Here's Richard Blumenthal.
Hegseth. I think this nomination is doomed.
All right.
I would be very surprised if we're still talking about Pete Hegseth next Monday, even by the end of the week. I've talked to 5 to 10 Republicans who have said to me they're just waiting for the right moment to say no to Pete Hegseth.
And, of course, that's all going to stir up the rumors with respect to DeSantis being tapped to take that spot. And like I said yesterday, it was not clear. People didn't believe it to be true. Now multiple sources have come out and reported that it is, in fact, true. We're also learning President Trump will be interviewed by NBC's Christian Welker on Meet the Press on Friday. It will air on Sunday. That should be an interesting interview. NBC, obviously no fan of President Trump. President Trump has appointed Peter Navarro to be his top trade advisor. He was jailed by the Gestapo DOJ for refusing to betray Trump. Let's listen to what he had to say in these remarks. I think this is from the RNC.
Committee. Here's how it went. Here's how I got in prison. The legislative branch came for me first. Your favorite Democrat, Nancy Pelosi, created your favorite committee, the sham January 6th committee, which demanded that I violate executive privilege. What did I do? I refused. The J6 committee demanded that I betray Donald John Trump to save my own skin. I refused. Here's the thing about the Constitution. They demanded that I break the law because they have no respect for it. I refused. And a Democrat majority in the House then voted to hold me in contempt. All right, what happened next? The next jackboot to drop was the executive branch. Another one of your favorite Democrats, Democrat Attorney General Merrick Garland. There's a winner. Him and Jack Smith indicted and prosecuted me for criminal contempt of Congress. Now, here's what's weird about it. It's something that Democrat prosecutors refused to do against one of their own, including two guys with blood on their hands, Eric Holder and Alejandro Mayorkas, the great border czar, right? They've actually gotten people killed.
So Peter Navarro is now joining the Trump administration yet again. Here's the official announcement. I'm pleased to announce Peter Navarro, man who was treated horribly by the deep state or whatever else you would like to call it, will serve as my senior counsel for trade and manufacturing during my first term. During my first term, few were more effective and tenacious than Peter. This clip here, I don't think I can play it, but Amuse says racism is now open season on Americans with Indian ancestry as a result of Trump's appointment of Vivek and Kash. Racism is lurking just below the surface of every white liberal woman. And this woman is just absolutely horrible. The things she's saying to this Indian man on a subway, I'm not even going to play it. You can go find it on X if you want to watch it. So much is happening. So much news to track here, trying to collect it all and, organize it so we have a cohesive narrative to understand. But I think of all things, we've got we've got Pierre Delecto who's leaving, Elon Musk bringing just a beautiful optimism to this. And, like what Glenn Beck was saying in this clip, Donald Trump learned so much in these 4 years that he was out of office, that he had so much time to regroup, that if they had just let him win the election, as he clearly did, if they just let him win that election and serve his term, Democrats could have had a candidate walking into the Oval Office on January 20th. But no, they decided to put Joe Biden in. And Donald Trump had 4 years to regroup. And now the deep state is freaking out. I think we've covered all of it here. So much to track. Looking forward to that interview with Trump this weekend. So, the coordinated attacks against Trump's nominees expose a frightening reality. When Kash Patel faces FBI investigations and Pete Hegseth endures character assassination attempts, one question becomes unavoidable. Is America still a republic when unelected bureaucrats can sabotage a president's chosen leaders? Are we watching the deep state's last desperate attempt to maintain control? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The future of our military and our nation hangs in the balance. While the establishment tries to silence strong leaders, you can make your voice heard with our exclusive MAGAvengers collection, each piece in our shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. And the lineup there is designed for patriots who refuse to back down. So gear up for the revolution while supplies last.